Hello everyone, welcome back to All the Mods 8. I've had a bit of a day, I must admit, because I've already recorded an entire episode, but my microphone just did not work. And I went to start editing, and I realised that there's no me talking. Some of you might like that actually, but anyway. What I've done between episodes as in before the episode I recorded, was I've moved I haven't moved it, I've copied it. I've copied my little shack that we had. I've copied it over to here, and I thought it was kind of cool. I used the copy-paste gadget, and copy-paste gadget's awesome because it even knows about these framed, like, you know, up the top here, we've got the framed slopes and everything. It knows about those and uses them and puts the block in there that you've copied. How cool is that? I thought that would be like a no-no for modded Minecraft, but anyway, we've got that here right now, and it looks kind of cool. My whole plan is, because I've had a bit of an issue recently trying to get into the pack, I have to do this. Disable it, and it looks a bit naff now that I look at it. Actually, it looks kind of cool, but it's not as good as with the shaders on, right? Let's turn it back on, because yeah, I have to disable my shaders by going into a different world, disabling shaders, and then coming into this world. Otherwise, this world does not load. But that's all because this world is kind of lag heavy right now, and I have a feeling it's to do with refined storage. It might not be, but my whole plan is I'm gonna move my refined storage stuff over here. But that's not why you're here. You've probably seen the title of the episode, and you're like, ooh, how you can... Not even gonna look what you had. There you go. Yeah, you've probably seen the title of the episode and you thought, okay, that's something that I want to do. I'm going to suggest you don't. But the title of the episode is 5x your ore with Mekanism. And that is this massive build. And I went over this entire thing and I've lost the footage. So we're just going to talk over what I have done over here instead. This is not perfect right now because we are quite low on hydrogen chloride. That is the limiting factor that we've got. But let's just start off by saying I went with a bit of a programmer's methodology right here, because I am by trade a programmer. I'm a software developer. So what I've done here is I've done something called the microservice methodology. So what that means is I've got a setup to get us hydrogen, oxygen, water vapor, hydrogen chloride and sulfuric acid, sodium and chlorine. So let's go over the hydrogen and oxygen one first, because this one's like quite easy to understand. So for hydrogen, all you need is an electrolytic separator with some water in it, and the water gets turned into hydrogen and oxygen, right? So I've got 4 of those all set up right here, 4 of the electrolytic separators. They've all got the upgrades in them as well. So that's the speed, energy, and muffling. Technically, we don't need energy whatsoever, because we've got unlimited energy, so it doesn't matter if we're taking like tons of energy. But I put them in there anyway, because it's habit at this point. The water is coming from the sink over here, and is just being piped out underneath into the electrolytic separators. I've got power on top. The hydrogen's coming out the side with these pressurized tubes into one of these chemical tanks. And the reason I'm doing a chemical tank between that and the entangler porter is because you can set dumping excess on the chemical tank. And that just means when the buffer from the entangler porter fills up, these still keep going. If you know what I mean? They don't just stop, because, to be fair, we could make it stop. And that would be just idle. And then these would just fill this up, and then when it's done, it will stop. But that, no. We do need it on dumping excess, because if we use like a ton of hydrogen, it will stop the oxygen when the oxygen gets too high or whatever, right? So we are leaving these 2 on dumping excess. So this tank then outputs to a quantum entangler porter. The quantum entangler porter has a frequency on it called hydrogen, and you have to set the side configs for this. That's the major pain in the bum. So I've set the side config for this to be like all the rest of them are blank. Oh, except for slurries. I need to turn that one off. There we go. But the side config for gases is just input on all sides because this is my input hydrogen quantum entangler porter. I've done the exact same for oxygen, and they're being filled up with the ultimate chemical tanks right here. And that means that I can just stick down a quantum entangler porter for either hydrogen or oxygen. So we've actually done that over here. The ultimate purification, or the purification factory that we've got right here, requires oxygen, and all I've got is an entangler porter with the oxygen frequency thing, and that is pushing oxygen into the purification chamber or factory as we've got it right here. So that is what I'm calling a microservice. So we're creating oxygen over here, and it's its own dedicated thing, and then we are using it over in our like main processing for the purification chamber. That's a lot of talking, but I'm going to move on because we've also got water vapor, which is what it really is this rotary condensator or condensator. There you go. You've got to toggle it, so there's a toggle button up here, and it moves the arrow so it's pointing in this direction. And we've got water coming in from the side. Again, I've got a buffer tank for the chemical, like the water vapor to go into, because water vapor is a gas, so it needs to go into one of these chemical tanks. That gas is then being pushed into another quantum entangler porter. So this itself is like a little service for water vapor, right? It's a microservice. This one over here is not quite micro, but it's still its own service as well. This one is for sodium and chlorine. If you're doing a sodium reactor, so there is like superheated sodium that you can do with reactors, then yeah, this is what you'll end up with. You can probably use the chlorine at that point for doing 5x. So if you are going to go like the superheated sodium reactor, it might be worth doing this 5x ore thing. But I'll go over why I'm not going to be using this after this is finished at the end of the episode. So this one here, all you do with the thermal evaporation thing, what do you call this? Is it like a multi-block? Yeah, thermal evaporation multi-block. All you do with this is you pump it full of water. So I'm doing that with the sink over here. There's a valve right there. You need to put it on a valve. I've got infinite energy, so I've got the resistive heater on the side, and I put like 250,000 FE into it per tick. And that just heats the crap out of this thermal evaporation tower thing that we've got. And with water and heat, the thermal there you go, it's called a plant. That's good to know. So the thermal evaporation plant will turn water into brine. And then you output the brine into some electrolytic separators. And that's where you get your sodium and your chlorine. I've done the exact same thing as we did just over there, where we've got the pressurized tubes coming out the side going into the chemical tank, buffer tank, right? And that goes into the quantum entangler porter. They've got their own frequency right here. So we can use the chlorine and the sodium wherever we want. Now, again, these are on dumping excess. Or that one is not on dumping excess, but it should be. And so should this one. Excellent. It's good to check your work, right? So what will happen is the chlorine will come in on this side, and we do need chlorine for this one over here, the hydrogen chloride. I don't know why I said it like that the first time, but so for this one you need, well, we can look in here. You need water vapor. No, you don't. You need hydrogen, which we've got from over here. So the hydrogen quantum entangler porter is being used right here. You also need the chlorine, which we've got right here. and you combine them together and you get yourself some hydrogen chloride. Again, I've got a buffer tank. I love putting my buffer tanks in because you can put dumping excess, meaning when you're not using it, it will continue to be made. Although in this case, I'm not going to do dumping excess. I'm going to do idle, because when this fills up, I don't want this operation to happen, if you know what I mean. So that's making us the hydrogen chloride, and we need hydrogen chloride for this one here, and it's actually the one that's not the best right now, but that's because of my chlorine production. But that takes the gold crystals and turns them into shards, which then you purification chamber down, crush down, enrich, and then you get your you get your gold from that. But yeah, so that's a little microservice for hydrogen chloride. I've got another microservice over here. Actually, I've got two. Let's go over the first one over here. So this one is to turn my sulfur ore that I've got. So if we do sulfur ore right there, we're getting this from the Aldemodium laser drill, because if we look at this, any biome with a yellow laser lens between these two Y levels will get us the sulfur ore, and the sulfur ore that we get from this, if you crush it, or no, not crush it, if you pulverize it, you get 6 sulfur out of it. So you can also use the induction smelter, but unless you want the rich slag, there's no point. We want the sulfur. You can't really get sulfur any other good way, because if you just smelt it up, you get 1. And it looks like there's no... Oh, there's a crystallizer from thermal expansion now, or the thermal series now. Did not realize. There's also a B that you can use for this, but we're using the pulverizer because it's the one that gets us the most. There's nothing from Mekanism, which is a bit weird. But you can get sulfur dust from Mekanism using gunpowder. So if you've got a good source of gunpowder, which actually is super easy to make with Mekanism because you can crush flint into gunpowder. So if you've got a good source of flint, which you should do, because you can crush down gravel for flint, and you can crush down cobblestone. Where is it? There you go. Crush down cobblestone to make gravel. So just out of cobblestone you can make gunpowder, and out of gunpowder you can make I always think it's pH for sulfur. For sulfur dust, this stuff. And sulfur dust is what you need for making... Let's pop back over here. Sulfur dioxide, yeah. So this one here is for sulfuric acid, as I said, anyway. So we've got the sulfur coming in here, which is being crushed down into sulfur dust. I'm using a pulverizer again, and I'm also using the creative flux efficiency because we can. And it's kind of easy for us to make. That's pushing into a chemical oxidizer, which is making us some sulfur dioxide. We've got a chemical infuser right here, which is also linked up to a quantum entangler porter for our oxygen. So we've got that from our microservice over there. That is producing some sulfur trioxide, which is then being pushed up into here. So sulfur trioxide and water vapor get us some sulfuric acid. Now, when I originally set this up, I did come up with the idea of having the, sulfur dioxide go into its own entangler porter. But sulfur dioxide is not used for... Oh, crap, didn't mean to do that. It's not used for anything else. It's just used to make trioxide. And trioxide isn't used for anything else either, that we're going to use it for at least. It's just used to make sulfuric acid. So there's no point in making a microservice for something that you're not going to use multiple times, in my opinion. So in this case, we've just stuck it here, and then it's being pushed into all of these and making us sulfuric acid. This one is also idle because... Why are you idle and not dumping excess? That's weird. But anyway, that's not being used right now because we are using it over here. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we're using it over here, and we've got an exporter right here, which if we put any kind of raw into, it will put in here, and then sulfuric acid and the raw versions of stuff. It needs to be 3 raw. You can see it actually if we do this. There you go. So we can put that in there with some raw gold, for example, and it will get us some dirty slurry. The dirty slurry is then being washed in the chemical washer, which we've got right here. So once the dirty slurry comes in, it will turn into pure slurry. Let's go from here again, and we can see. There you go. So the clean, it's not pure, it's clean. So from there, it goes into the chemical crystallizer. The clean gold slurry will turn into these gold crystals. The gold crystals then need the hydrogen chloride, which we've got the over here. We've got the microservice for. That then gets turned into a shard, which then gets turned into a clump in the purification chamber with oxygen, which again, microservice over here. Then we crush it, then we purify it, or then we enrichment chamber it, and then we smelt it, and we smelt that in our unobtainium furnace over here. So if we look in this one's nearly finished. I'm going to wait for this to finish and completely clear out, and then we are going to stick 3 raw gold in the front here, and by the time it gets to the ultimate enrichment chamber, we should have 15. I'm actually going to turn off the output for this once it gets there. So let me just wait for this to finish, and then we will be right back. There we go. So this is completely finished now, and what I can do is I can stick these 3 in here. You'll see it turns into dirty. Dirty goes into here. These all get, okay, not as much as I thought. They need to get a certain amount. I didn't realize if I split these up that would happen. That's a bit unfortunate. That's fine. We can put more in later. That then gets pushed through to here. I didn't turn off the flipping... Okay, let's turn that off, and we'll do it again with some gold. So 1, 2, 3. Stick that in. All of these light up. That time it got less, and then over here it's gonna do some cleaning. I want to see if we actually get 15, because the way this works, it looks like it's left a little bit in here. So how many do we get there? We got 11, but then there is enough stuff in each of these. So that one there's got a little bit more, that one's got a little bit more, so on and so on. So I do need to clean these out somehow. 1, 2, 3. Maybe that will help. No. And that's got more than it needed. I think you do need a chemical crystallizer for each of the different raws that you put in here. Otherwise, you'll get that sort of thing happen. But at least it's gone all the way down. And how many do we get that time? So we got 9 out of that one. Okay. Let's just stick a bunch in there and see what happens at the end. So at first I thought it was my chemical crystallizer that was the limiting factor, but it wasn't. It was this. So our hydrogen chloride is the one that is causing us the most grief. That is purely because we aren't getting as much chlorine as I would like. But the way that you get around that is you can just have a bunch more thermal evaporation plants and get loads more brine. That'd be a good way of doing it. So you can set up literally this again and again and again, and you can just duplicate them over and over, get loads and loads of brine. In that case, I would set up a service for brine and then have loads of electrolytic separators feeding off that one service. And then that way we would get loads of chlorine and loads of sodium as well. So if you are interested in getting loads of sodium, that's probably a good way of doing it. And then that would then be pumped into this chemical infuser, which will get us more hydrogen chloride. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff that I did, and I think the video was probably about 45 minutes long, which is kind of long for a video, I must admit. So I'm glad that I got the chance to go over it and everything. But the thing that I don't like is my thought process as I was going through this. I quite like to lay out my thought process as I do it. And it's a bit of a pain that that was lost, but 'tis fine because we've got all of this set up now. And I'm going to completely turn it off because we don't need this. And at least I can share this thought process with you guys, which is in this pack in particular, all the mods 8, it is ridiculously easy to get resources, right? To actually get the raw versions of stuff. So we've got loads of okay, let's lob all of these in here. We've got loads and loads of like gold, for example. We've got over 1 million gold. Let's have a look at how many things we've got right here. So we've got nearly 20 million copper and, you know, 4 million osmium. We're never going to be able to use that stuff ever. So, and the reason that we've got that many is because, oh, that's a point. I forgot to show this. In my original base, over here is where I've got my auto smelter set up. So right here was my creative exporter. I had all of my ores going into this creative, well, into this unobtainium furnace right here because, well, I'm going to set it up again because why not? Raw. I'm just going to drag all of these in over here like that. So raw aluminium, raw lead, raw nickel, osmium. We're going to put them all in here again because just smelt them. We've got so many of them. At one point I had like 7 million iron, raw iron. And for it to go through a doubling process, it would take ages. It would take yonks to actually get through all of that. So instead, what I said to myself was, I'm just going to smelt them up. I'm not going to do it with, yeah, screw it. Let's just do it with all the modium and the vibranium as well. And the unobtainium. And they've all been smelted. There must be more raw stuff. Easnium as well. We can chuck that in there. And whatever this stuff is. Does that actually smelt down? No, it doesn't. Okay, we can take that out. There you go. But you don't need to do that. You don't need to actually have a ridiculous amount of like we had loads of azure silver. We've got loads of these blocks as well. Can I just spout these up? That would be really useful. No, it doesn't look like it. But it would take more time to double the resources than it would to just not double the resources and just smelt the resources that we have, right? So that was my sort of feeling when we had a big wall of ores just like all stacking up. That's a point. I've got a load of tin. Yeah, raw tin, slate. Let's grab some of this. Does this actually smelt? Oh, it does smelt. Perfect. So I can stick that in there, and that would just get us like a bunch of tin. Look how quickly that goes down. And we just got a load of tin out of that. This is how it works. I can take all of these other ores. Deep slate tin, yeah. Just regular tin. And yeah, we could just stick it through the furnace like that. Because it doesn't matter. We've got so much stuff. And I have a feeling that everyone else will be in the same position as me. Because most people will go to the mining dimension. And most people... Oh, hello. Fell down. Brilliant. It's good I've got flight. Most people will do what I've done here, which is you just chunk destroy the mining dimension. I've chunk destroyed the mining dimension right here. 50 chunks in that direction, 50 chunks in that direction, 50 in that direction, and 50 in that direction. So that's whatever 50 times 50 is, which is 2,500 worth of chunks in the mining dimension right here, times 2. So that's 5,000 chunks I have chunk destroyed during the process of this series. I think I've got enough resources, is what I'm trying to say. And I think most people will be the same. Oh, hopefully I haven't just crashed, because I'm... Oh, no, I'm all good. Whoa, oh, that's scary. Crashing in this game right now is super annoying for me, because if I crash, that means I can't get back into the world without... without doing the old, you know, turning this off. Turning the shaders off, etc. So yeah, that would be super annoying, but it's all good. So that's what I'm trying to convince everybody right now is don't set up ore processing. At the beginning of the game, sure, set up ore processing, but this is not a beginning of the game thing to set up right here. This is like a late game ore processing. At the beginning of the game, I would suggest doing the create version of ore processing, which is what we've got right here. So that is you stick a hammer in a basin, you put a mixer above it, and then you just put ores or raws into this, and then that will double it. In fact, I've got my aldemodium, vibranium, and unobtainium in this sort of thing right here. So you can see vibranium there. Unobtainium coming out right there, and that doubles everything, and then you just smelt the so under here I've got pipes, and that just smelts up over here. You can see it right there. This is what I would suggest you do. Don't bother with Mekanism when it comes to ore 5xing. It's a really cool thing to set up, but it's not needed at all in All the Mods 8. And the more people that I can convince not to do it, the better. Because it's a little bit of a waste of time and resources. Which, I know that's counterintuitive, because I'm saying, don't do this to get more resources. Just mine more stuff. But anyway, I know what I'm talking about. I hope I've convinced a few of you as well. I forgot to pat you earlier. So pat. You get double. There you go. So, yeah, that is my little rant about all of that. I did remove the chemical crystallizers that were here, so this is just pulling from here now. I do have 3 raw platinum right now, and yep, I turned that off. So we can at least see this go through. So that's gone in here. That is creating us a bunch of crystals, and that's creating us a bunch of shards, clumps, and then raw. Or dust. Dust is what I meant. So this creates us the dirty, and then that will create us the dust. Hopefully, we can see that this is going to create us... Why did you only make 10? Is that right? Did I do that wrong? Is that not 5x anymore? Or did I miss a step? I must have missed a step. Oh, this must have come with... I've just went and checked through again. This used to be how you do 5x of something, but that's not how it works anymore. Now it's not 5x, it's every 3 you put in, you get 10 out. So what is that? That is 3 1/3. So 3 and a bit you get out of this. Oh, I'm still going to put the title as 5x because this is how you used to be able to do 5x. I've still got a little bit of time left in the episode right here. So let's talk about an even better version of this, and that is using some occultism. So I'm going to quickly set up the ritual you need to do to get the crushing spirit, the super awesome, amazing, best crushing spirit. So give me a minute and I will go and set that up. Now we are going to need some red chalk, so I'm going to summon an Afrit. I think this is how I do it. Unbound Afrit. Now I forget, do I have to kill something for this? I always... So this is the sacrifice cow. So I do need to go get a cow and we can sacrifice it. Luckily we got the mob yoinkers. Pat, pat, pat. We had a bunch of pigs, so we can stick this down. I think that should have started the ritual. Oh, there you go. He spawned in with some blazes. I want to see if I can... I can do that. Okay. Oh, he's dead. There we go. We should have got some Afrit essence, and we can use this to make the chalk. And then I think you just chuck that chalk in the fire over here. You get yourself red chalk. So there we go. We got ourselves the correct. Which one is this again? I think this is whatever that says. Tima's Incentivized Attraction Summon Married. Job very fast crushing. So we want one of these dudes. We haven't done one of these in a while where we actually summon a dude in, but I think we can use our time in the machine, brilliant, to like speed this up. It does take a little while, I must admit, but it does speed it up if you use time in the bottle. And there we go. We've got ourselves a crushing spirit. Now, if I grab some more of that, what was it? Ah, there we go. One of these raw platinum. This is how I was getting my raw platinum earlier. So if I do 1, 2, 3, I think I can lob it at him, and then he'll pick it up. And then he gives me 6 per, and he's actually pretty quick. And the good part about this guy is he does not disappear. The other ones, after a certain amount of crushes, they disappear. But this guy, he does not disappear. So this is the way you should probably go. Forget about Mekanism. That's what I'm trying to say. If you want to do that, plus, there's a cool thing that I've seen a few people do. Where's my shrink device? It's in my bag. And then... no, that's not it. Set it down to the lowest, and then... that makes you low. Can I think I punch you, but please don't be mad that I punched you with this. Look, he's Diddy! He's so small. Amazing. And then we can get our yoinker that we've got right here. I don't know what this will do to this guy. But if we pick him up, we can go put him in a little ore processing area. Stick him down like that. Look at him, little Diddy dude. And I can just give you like a bunch of platinum. Just gave him 9. So how much is he going to give me? Loads more. And what I've seen a load of people do is have they've got like a compact machine, and they've got like, I don't know, 10 of these guys or 20 or something like that. And you just dump in a bunch of ore, and these guys pick it up, crush it down, and then you have like a item collector that only collects the dust. But there we go. That's pretty good. So this is what I suggest you do if you want to do that. If not, just smelt it. Don't do this. Perfect. That's a good way to end the episode, I think. So thank you for watching. Thanks for joining. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.